problem with that type of, it gets combative. They're saying accountant. I'm saying, ain't no accountant. You got the accountant, like you said a lot over 3 years, but the fact remains that you haven't resolved the accounting. And if you don't resolve it, and it keeps escalating, what happens is pimple versus cancer. The pimple, you leave it, it'll go away. The cancer, you leave it, it'll kill you. And that's what happens. And for these gentlemen to be my friends at one point, and for us to hang out so much at one point, and to talk so much at one point, for these things to be misunderstood, nobody has to wear that but me. That's me. I can't be mad at nothing they say from the hurt and anger side of things, because what part did I play in putting it there? So when I wanted to come scream on Kevin Hart, I wanted to say, yo, dog, I saw the docs with you. I saw you fall out with your man over something wild. When I was watching it, I thought it was wild. I was more elated that I saw you piece it up with your mans. I'm glad I got to see that. I'm glad y'all chose to show that, because we don't normally get to see that from such an entity, right?
Right.
I also saw you get shook down by your man and have to handle that. I also saw what you deal with, whatever you dealt with from the Oscars. I seen it. And right as I was saying all that, I thought, oh shit, God, thank you. Wow. Perfect person for me to talk to. And I called him. And he said, you failed. And I said, Kev, but this. Nah, but this is what, nah, but this. And he said, not in these words, but how I take it now. So what? Oh, 2 words never changed my life so much. So what? But how do you internalize the so what? Because for me now, it's not just so what. It's so what, now what, then what? It's a math problem. So what they did all of that? So what, you feel hurt, you feel betrayed, they feel this. None of that matters. You had one common goal, which was to get your team somewhere. And you didn't do it. You failed. All of the people above that have been where I am, the shit I keep saying there's no pamphlet for, they freestyled their way to it. Those are the people that can tell me, yo, clear and obvious mistake what you did there. Not the fucking on Insta Live. What are we doing here? Why do I have to keep being combative with my old co-hosts because they don't understand something I don't understand and they don't believe me? Guess what? I didn't understand it either. Because the other thing that Kev said, which we'll get when you get past the emotions, facts are facts. The facts are the facts. You don't have to believe me, but I have to find some type of way to let you know that the information is true. Now let's take all the emotion out of it, because I'm going to address this, and hopefully we don't have to continue to address it, because today I'm not at a place where I want to see people harbor all this ill will and this hurt and this pain just because it was never communicated properly, right? So this is the root and crux of the problem, or was the crux of the problem, and this is where I failed at. Back to too many emotions. When you say the accounting is wrong, maybe the accountant is offended. Maybe Ian's offended. When you say that the show was off, maybe this person's offended. Maybe the co-host is offended. If everybody's offended, you can't think through it. The bottom line is this. I own this, and I chose an accounting company. I'm speaking to the whole room. The accounting company I chose, I trust. As someone that has been robbed by every accounting company that I've ever been to. I've had all my money taken. I've had little pieces taken without you telling me. I've been robbed by accountants a few times. This one I happen to trust. I've been around long enough to know that when you've been in the game for 20 years, when you get with somebody you could trust, keep them. Ian, I trust. Only because I've had mad managers where it didn't go right. Mm-hmm. It took 20 years, but there's an accountant I trust. Ian, I trust. There's fucking lawyers I trust. There's people that I'm compatible with in business now. So if you're wondering why it looks like there's been progress over the last few years, there's an ecosystem behind the scenes that I really, really, really respect. Not only do I respect, But my accountant, I don't think was looking for any more clients when he took me. I would go as far as telling you who my accountant is, but his job ain't podcasting.
Right.
Those people need to be in the back doing what they do. But if I told you who my accountant was, you'd realize that his family has done the accounting in the entire music business for probably most of my life. When I came in, his family was running accounting in the music business.
Some people might say that as a negative, though. It's all the horror stories we've heard about.
You can receive it that way. That's why this is my testimony, and I'm saying I trust this accountant. Bingo, right? Mm. And that's important to know. I can't get mad at them for not trusting any of the information, because when I step back and look at it and look what happened, I have to own that I came in here for mad months and said millions are on the table, and I'm turning it down to go take a deal where I'm not getting $1. Think about it. Ain't no time for emotions here. Really think about why these two dudes might feel the way that they feel.
Yeah, I'd be pissed.
You would be fucking mortified.
Shit.
Not only is this dude saying he turned down all of these millions of dollars that I didn't know nothing about, but somehow got the nerve to come in here with all of these stupid fucking dad hats on. Where the fuck is he getting all of these stupid dad hats from? These are normal inquiries. It's not a normal decision that somebody would make, number one. Number two, everybody don't have the work ethic to get to that point in the game where you can deny that type of shit. Mm-hmm. I can't expect people to understand that. I can no longer be mad at these two dudes because they didn't get it. I got to be mad at me for failing to disseminate that information properly. And for that, I apologize. I'm sorry. I don't doubt the universe, and I never doubt what the universe is doing. I always follow it. I'm not saying this so there could be some type of big reconciliation party. I'm fine with where we stand today. But they should know that all of that information on the accounting was accurate. Even in divorce, you should know that, because the facts remain the facts. Rory, when you go around saying you don't respect accounting on an Excel spreadsheet, I go and call other accountants, because maybe you're right. Like, I'm listening to everybody. Maybe you're right. When I go call those people, the other accountants that have nothing to do with my business, they say they do accounting on an Excel spreadsheet. Then I go to my history. Any accountant I've ever seen in my life was on an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe there's a cooler way, I don't know. But you'd be damned if I'm going to tell the man that's been doing it for 60, 70 years that the way he has set up his entire business is off. It's a smack in the face. It's out of bounds. Maybe I communicated that wrong. My bad. But that is where the conflict goes. And that conflict goes to, I listened and there was just so much they didn't know. Maul didn't know why the pay would be like that on touring, when the venue was $3,000, when the venue was $1,500. He said that. He said, how could the money ever be the same? For him to ask that, I have failed.
Because you should have explained, this is what it is and why it's this way.
Yeah. We should have been having those talks along the whole way.
Should have been no surprises.
I never knew that he didn't know how that could happen. Because I could have tried to explain, well, there's a whole lot of ways where that could happen. You could agree to some deals. You could agree to the guarantee before you ever go on the road. You could do 6 shows, agree to some shit, then go on the road. Fucking the prices ain't the same. The New York tickets ain't gonna be the same as the tickets over here. The price for the fucking staff over here won't be the same as the staff over here. It might be huge walk-by traffic over here in a busy city. Maybe we do a door deal, even though the science and data says we shouldn't do a door deal over. It's so much poker. And that's where I was getting mad and frustrated. Because every single decision when it comes to pod involves so much poker and data and science. And if y'all don't know and you're just taking it for granted and I would have never known Maul felt like me saying I got the line around the corner was an indictment against his shine. I wouldn't have known that. If I say I got the line around the corner, I'm just proud. I'm only proud. And the line, and that sentence is true. If Maul would have said it, if Rory would have said it, if Parks would have said it, anybody that contributed
Can say that at that time. I get it.
for me to not have my head in the game that way, for me to not know, I started to feel it after a little while, but to not know that I couldn't express the joy and happiness that came from my life changing right before my very eyes, yeah, that's deep. You missed some steps. Kevin Hart is absolutely correct.
And the other thing,
Anthony Salah is absolutely correct.
and I think the other thing, you're operating not as business owner, not as head of the network. Now you were operating more as friend in these situations, which was why I think it was both.
I think everybody involved, including myself, at times.
That as a mistake though. That is a mistake. That's what I'm saying.
Did not play their role, because everyone here is kind of independent contractors anyway, so you're really technically kind of your own business, and everyone should move that way. Mm-hmm. Everyone has failed in doing so.
But not them. That's where the friendship part comes. Like, this is my man.
They're not independent contractors.
I'm an independent contractor. We're a unit. We moving this way, okay? But then I hear you turning down deals here, but it's a shitload of money. Like, I feel like some information is not getting back to me. Mm-hmm. That's where the questions could come from.
I have failed. I failed in that.
I'm agreeing.
But listen, this is the issue. What I said the deal is what the deal is. This is where the problem comes into play, and this is where, listen, I spent a whole damn near few months tearing down a company or trying to. I said every bad thing you could say about Spotify, right? I still have a contract with Spotify that even though you're not in it, there are things in it where you have to honor. The second I breach that, I think they would come and attack me legally because I talk so much shit about them. Right? Mm. So when Rory and Maul said, yo, we hear what you're saying, dog, but we need to see the money that went into a bank account. We need to see your contract. We need to see something from Spotify that says this is what you got. I can't show it to you. And the second I ever showed it to you, I would lie and say I didn't.
Why is that?
Because it's the law. It's in the contract. Nobody should know the details of this contract. This is private. All the little lawyer words, this is a private, pertinent, indiscretion. If you do it, we'll throw you in jail. We'll fuck you up. Blah, 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 blah. All that shit that it says at the end. If Ish is mad at me somehow and goes around saying the contents of that contract to anybody and it comes back, I wear it legally. I have deals in place where you just can't talk about certain things. It don't matter the friendship. That puts me legally liable if Rory, who is disgruntled, shares with anyone anything that might be true in that contract. And there's the stalemate.
Yeah, it didn't have to be though.
But that's where it is.
It shouldn't have to be.
I agree with
Like I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible. Y'all had a unique situation where it was business and it was friendship, right? So in the friendship piece, if the friendship is genuine and it's sincere, I'm gonna take what you're saying for face value, right? But that would be stupid. So I'm gonna read my contract. I'm gonna ask questions. If I feel you doing something funny, I'm gonna go get my own lawyer. I'm gonna go get my own accountant. I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of it as best I possibly could, right? So I think in hearing, you're saying you signed a deal with Spotify, right?
No, I'm just saying I failed. I ain't even getting the particulars no more.
But you said that they couldn't see the Spotify work because you would be held liable, right? Yeah. Which means that they didn't have a deal with Spotify.
No.
I think that was one of their biggest, from what I'm hearing and seeing, that was one of the biggest misconstruances
then that is a misstep for me. If there's any part of this that's unclear,
that's your
then
problem too.
I did not make it clear because the facts are still the facts.
Yeah, I agree. No. I saw a clip. Somebody on Twitter posted a clip, and Rory was like, "You're like, yo, you're an intern. You're the greatest intern or something." He's like, "Intern? I'm not an intern. I'm a part owner." And you started laughing like, you need to check your paperwork, buddy." And he's like, "Oh, I have. I've seen it a million times."
But that's important.
That was 3 or 4 years ago.
And there was no paperwork.
I don't know, but I'm just saying that was 3 or 4 years ago.
And there was no paperwork. We was in Ferrari's house. There was no paperwork. I'm not spreading the business because I'm the network and I can't. It's against the law. I will not do it. But that needs to be spoken about as creators. There's no contract there, and clearly from that vid you could see he wants ownership.
Well, he assumed that he had
ownership.
Well, there's no contract, and he knew that, so we playing around.
He didn't know. That's the problem. He didn't know.
Well, but it's not on paper, so that's fine. He cannot know. I cannot know. It cannot be established. It's not on paper. This is very important for creative people and entrepreneurs to get with. When it was time for a contract, it's time to fight. Not fight, but it's time to negotiate.
Negotiate.
It's time to say what you want, tell your lawyer, tell your representation so they can best go about trying to get that for you.
True.
So when that time comes and you got a contract, and you and I have fought about everything money because of monopoly. When that contract comes and you go through it with your attorney and you start fighting for different things, and on the side you call me to say, yo, my lawyer said and we trying to get this done. I assume that you going through the process with your lawyer and you going through and you fighting for what you want and it's in there. And when you sign it, my bad again, I assume that you are very familiar with all that's there. And that's a mistake-ish. That's my fault.
And that you're satisfied because you signed it.
Yeah, that can't be my position because I am, and it's not my position. My position is if anybody unhappy here can go. Anybody unhappy in the contract don't exist no more. Anybody unhappy with anything, that's my position. It can't be, then what was I just saying? What were you just saying? Before you get to that, what were you just saying before that? I don't want to forget my point.
I was talking about Rory voicing that he felt as though he was an owner.
Oh, yeah. So people's misunderstanding of their contract, on the friendly side, maybe you should come in and explain it. Maybe. What I'm saying is too many times I, as a creator, have been at the negotiating table, signed some shit because I needed to or for another reason, didn't really fight. I missed something. My lawyer was unprepared. It was against a better lawyer. Plenty of times you go in it and you wake up one day when you're looking for information, you realize, oh shit, I'm in a shit show contract. I never want to put nobody in that, so I would never present that to nobody, a shit show contract. But typically when you're in a contract you don't want to be in, you got to wait it out. I waited 17 years to get out of my publishing deal. I waited 8 years to have some sort of separation in my production deal with my guys. Web coming home soon, free to God. I waited however many years to get out of my Def Jam contract. I had to work my way out of the E1 contract. Like, once you sign your name, it's there. So much merit in it. Good, bad, or indifferent. So if you're receiving your contract like it's bad and you're unhappy with it, I don't want to run on too much. But I was responsible. I failed. They didn't know.
You did.
For me, I still don't think they know. But that can't be my responsibility today. It should have been. I should have handled it better. And Kevin Hart is absolutely right. And Anthony Selah is absolutely right.
I wish that everybody would have went through the proper channels with lawyers and accountants as opposed to talking to each other, because none of you are lawyers and accountants or managers. So you shouldn't be answering Rory's questions about accounting because you're not an accountant.
Well, that's why I always try to defer to an accountant.
That's been my most frustrating thing. That's what I told him the first night when we were first fighting about it. Please just do it with professionals and not each other.
That is the best way to do it.
And if Joe calls and yells something that your professional said, say, okay, Joe, and hang up the phone because your professionals are handling it.
But see, even in that, we talking about Joe calling and yelling. There's a lot of narratives going around like Joe is just a madman yelling. But behind camera, I talk pretty sensibly. So when Rory tells the story, and this is me taking emotion out, of him going to take a title meeting while I'm negotiating with title, that's inappropriate. And I let him know that it was out of bounds, inappropriate, and I let him know firmly. That was taking the friendship vibes off. But you heard what he said. Oh, he called and he screamed at me, and that was out of line. I'm trying to bang people over the head for 7 figures. They're offering us 20, 30, and 40 grand a month. This shit costs way more than this to run. I'm asking for way more than that. I want way more than 40 grand a month. No. So yeah, that was out of bounds. And I'm taking responsibility for even that. For all of the things that I saw in that video where it just seemed like they didn't understand, I'm owning that. That's not on them.
Joe, let me ask you a question.
Ask me whatever you want, but please speak into the microphone.
I am speaking into the mic. It's right here.
You were yawning by the...
No, what?
Joe,
I ain't yawn. Listen, me,
I failed,
I know you failed, but I just want to...
I was the one...
All right, hold on. If this is watching all of the clips that I've seen, from what I'm understanding,
it's up
this
to you.
whole... I ain't talking about that. This whole percentage-based agreement thing, contract, from what you just said, you can't go over the details of the Spotify deal, correct?
Yeah.
So if someone has a percentage-based deal with you, which is based off of that, and they can't get that number, you can't see how that could create some kind of
Of course.
All right, well, that's all. I just didn't get.
But that's the difference That's the difference from you not receiving a number to you not believing the number you've received. That's the difference from not having received a number to, hey, I don't like what these numbers, the story that these numbers say.
Okay.
Or I don't understand these numbers. Not where did they come from? Who's the accountant? What is this Excel sheet? Who the fuck put this together? Where's this? That's just not the best way to do it. I'm not attacking how they did it. They did what they felt best to do when they were comfortable to do it. I'm taking ownership for how I handled the duress, the stress, and the job of leading men to one common goal. That's it. Failed. I failed in that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Parks, E, Alex, YouTube brother. No, now, I asked you one brother. That's just one brother. But yeah, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. Somebody owe you an apology. Yeah, no.